Hello, ladies and gentlemen. Your host today with my brother from another mother, Christopher. I am Hussein, and we are here officially for the preseason. Lol jokes, the preseason.
Preseason's done.
The
thank
real
God.
season. I will miss the preseason. We had a good run during it.
Did we? I didn't do anything.
Am I sick in the mind for watching every minute of every preseason game?
Yeah.
I think you could say I am.
I don't think I watched like more than half a game.
Hilariously, the Back Yourself podcast goes 10-4 against the spread on preseason games. I will actually circle back to this next year when preseason comes around. That these $5 underdogs, if I was a book, I would put every single game as pick 'em because there's no reason to put some cunt 16.5.
Yeah,
in
some of the spreads were just ridiculous. They all won as well.
But anyway, we're not here to talk about fucking this garbage. We're here to talk about the actual sport. How are you feeling, Christopher? Can you smell it?
I smell it.
In the air.
4 days away from Vegas. This time it feels like one good game, one shit game, and I think last year we had two good games.
I think you could debate which one's the good one on Sunday.
Nah,
Depends what you're rooting into.
I think everyone knows it's Penrith Sharks. So
I'm more keen for the other one. The more I think about it.
Well, you're the one who's saying you were dreading actually talking.
I know,
about
but I've come around.
Oh, now you've understood how funny it is.
You'll understand why when I make my point during the first game.
Okay, other than they're fighting it with each other.
No, it's got nothing to do with that, bro.
Okay.
But yeah, give us a like, give us a subscribe, a comment in the comment section about how you boys are feeling. Finally, that the footy is around the corner.
I'm plugging.
And premium. Look, I know the games. We're gonna do a separate preview for the non-Vegas games. This is just a quick 2-game preview for the games on Sunday. Obviously, because we don't know the team list of the games in the upcoming week past the Vegas games, but I will say the pod is already on Dolphins, $2.60 head-to-head, now into $1.40. And by kickoff, they could be $1.20 the way Souths are going. I mean, wow. Also, we are on the Broncos -1, out to 6.5 now. The Roosters, shout out Bunzy. I mean, God, you guys look absolutely pitiful. But that segues me well into the 2 games in Vegas, which I would say I probably have the least conviction on out of the entirety of the round, where we've seen a ton of movement in some of the games so far, but these ones have more or less stagnated on 2.5/3.5. The Sharks opened at 4, down to 3 already, back on some injury news. How about I go into lineups, Chris, and we go from there, my friend?
I mean, in saying that, I think a lot of us we've got a value on a few of the games. I think if you're betting right now, it's getting more and more difficult.
Well, every single game is 4.5.
Well, every game's 4.5, but I think now they've adjusted correctly in a lot of spaces.
Well, I think the books kind of fucked themselves over by releasing round 1 spreads 4 months in advance.
When they do Australian odds, it's just something else.
Yeah, you guys
NBA, we have to wait until 11 a.m. the day before just to get Philly at -4.5 for them to lose by 2.
50. Yeah. So for round 1, I think it serves us well to give every team list 1 to 17. Going forward, we'll just do
ins and outs.
Yes, ins and outs.
Oh, okay, yeah, that always goes well. The Back Yourself podcast.
Some have told me it's a highlight of the show. But carrying on. All right, the Raiders running out 17 dicks. Kyle Weeks, Tamale, Timoko, Chris, Savage, Ethan Strange, Jamal Fogarty, Horsburgh, Starling, Tarpany, Hudson Young, packing in the back row alongside his best mate Morgan Smithies, with the Dally M medalist Zach Hosking to return from his injury.
Oh, that's beautiful.
Season. He's actually already leading the Dally M leaderboards. He has 3 votes before a game's been played. Now we have Owen Patty. Raiders
have been saying this kid is it's sensational, and on overseas markets, he is the second favourite to win Rookie of the Year.
Wow, okay.
So the only player in front of him is Alungi, which makes sense because he's starting Paramount fullback, but this kid is...
Okay, so they're taking some young talent over to Vegas. And also on the bench with him, Sasangi, a Back Yourself favourite, Josh Papali in what could be his final season, although he reckons he wants to play another year, so we'll see. And Mariota.
Well, Dragons will take anyone, so you don't know.
He could be a Dragon by 2029.
He could be a Dragon this season. We don't know.
He's too young at the moment. What is he, 33?
Yeah, I'm shaking at the Dragons bench next week.
We'll get to Dragons.
Because Clemmer will be there?
Yeah,
no.
Wow, Tigers, Dragons. What a durry deal between you guys. All right, moving on to the high-powered offense that is the New Zealand Warriors. We got Chanzi Nicoclockstad, the 3rd best fullback on the team, at fullback. Tuapiki on the wing with Leitalo, Pompey, Tuivasa-Sheck, who... Every year they move him one step further. So next year he's not actually going to be on the wing. He's going to be on the sideline. The predicted Dally M medalist of the entire season, Luke Metcalf, with Chanel Harris-Tavita for goal-kicking purposes in the halves with him. James Fisher-Harris, the new captain of the club, at the front row with Mitch Barnett, Wade Egan at 9, Capewell, Niokore, Aaron Clark, your back rows and lock forward, Dylan Walker, Jackson Ford, Vai Mauga, and Halasima. Wow, okay.
Initial thoughts?
I thought you were going to sound the alarm.
Nah,
Get the alarms going.
Look. All right. I was going to sound the alarm and everyone would be like, what's sound the alarm? Well, I do an upset alert every week. Week 1, the upset alert isn't going to be for the Vegas games, unfortunately. I've got one in mind, which is now underdog. So if you guys know what I'm talking about, you'll know which team it is. But because of something you said, and I can't wait for you to say it next week. But let's start with the Raiders. Look, Raiders opened at 4. They've gone to 2. Fair enough. Warriors lineup is shit, to be honest. But Raiders isn't any better. My concern with the Raiders is simply not that they're fighting, because, that's just got fire in their belly. And at least we know what the fuck they're doing. My concern is everyone's saying Raiders. Why are they underdogs? Objectively speaking, right? Sit there and look at round 1. Look at their preseason. Look at everything that's happened. Warriors didn't play fucking great in preseason. Why are they still underdogs? If the world is saying, oh yeah, okay, it's on a neutral, Raiders looked good for preseason, they looked fine. They have some young talent going overseas. They're, playing a Warriors team which isn't great and everyone knows they're not great. So why are they not closer to favourite than 2.5? That's what's concerning me right now, because that just means that we're looking at it from a casual's perspective. The people we're talking to are saying, Raiders, brah, yeah, 1 to 12, or Raiders 13 plus. So who the fuck's taking Warriors?
The entire country of New Zealand is on -2.5.
Well, is the whole country... Look, that's a good one for the... Is the entire country of New Zealand taking -2.5 to keep this at it? Because, in my opinion, everyone I speak to is saying Raiders. Okay. So this should be closer to 1.5.
So, from my perspective, the books opened this at 4.5, right? Yeah. So they've already dug in and been like, all right, we think the Warriors are, 4 points better than the Raiders on the neutral. Can the public bet it down all the way from 4 so the books go to a point where it's at a pick'em? I think no.
They're getting there.
Right? And Raiders are no world beaters for cunts to be like, shift it fucking 6 points and make them favourites, right? So I don't really give a shit about what the spread is at the moment because, look, from my perspective, shout out to the Raiders organisation, the club, the Raider himself, Charles Cronulla. I hope you're watching, mate. And I want to first set you guys up before what I'm about to say by saying that I actually respect your club a lot. I think you've been talent devoid for a long time. And you made a grand final in 2019. That team was fucking nuts. All your English imports played out well. You had Leiloa and Rapana on one side, Bateman on the other. Everything was clicking. Jack Whiten looked like one of the 3 best players in the league. And, from that point, you had a lot of turnover in your roster. You have some new kids on the block now. I feel like the world thinks they're a bit more talented than what they actually are, but that's neither here nor there. I actually feel like people don't understand this Raiders team. And I know I actually have been thinking about... I have not given the Panthers Sharks game 1 minute thought in the past week. I've been thinking about Raiders. Non-stop. Night and day I've been thinking about Raiders.
You think they can't score. But Warriors can't score either.
Don't worry about scoring. What's everybody's perception of this Raiders team? And what were we quick to say in the season preview? Fuck. This Raiders team has hella heart, bro.
Yeah.
This Raiders team will fight till the death, bro.
Yeah.
This Raiders team will fight tooth and nail, and you know what? They'll never fucking let Ricky down, bro. If you dig a little deeper, this Raiders team can spring a stupid upset against the top teams, right? Yeah. If you want to throw me the teams that are there and abouts of like who we would put in a tier with the Raiders, and you were to say, all right, one of them's going to Melbourne and they're going to get a win. Which one is it? We would probably be like, you know what, Raiders.
Oh yeah, Warriors would never go there.
Warriors and like Tigers and all these kinds, they'll never win. But we would. I'm talking about the previous 2-3 seasons. Yeah, we'd be like, you know what, Raiders, like they can fire up and win. And like last year, they beat Penrith, they beat Roosters, they beat all these fucking idiots. But they made the 8 2 years ago with a point differential of minus 140.
Yeah.
Right? Last year, they finished ninth after going on a rampage of beating Roosters and Penrith. So why are they actually in a position where they have a point differential of minus 130? And why are they in a position where if they end the year with a 4-game winning streak, they're still like below Knights?
Yeah.
Why? Because these guys are actually fucking quitters.
All right, but okay, they're not quitters.
They
though.
are.
I refuse to believe they're quitters.
They have, like, you have a perception that they'll fight tooth and nail and they're in every contest, but they're actually not. All these cunts do is score horseshit tries off kicks and off other garbage, and they, like, win games randomly by 2, and then when they lose, remember they fucking conceded 50 points to Tigers?
Okay, yeah, I do actually.
So fuck these cunts.
No, but like,
what I'm saying
I
is...
think you're only saying one side of the story.
No, I'm going to get to Halasima and Co. Don't worry. But my underlying point is, I actually think that it's been like in the works for Raiders to get the wooden spoon within like the last 3 years, and they just haven't because
they're good.
Because they just randomly win stupid games for no reason.
They're going to do it. Like I don't think anything's going to change this year. It's the same garbage.
Them firing up and winning games by 2, they're not going to win them anymore, and they're going to keep losing the dog shit games. I genuinely think, which brings me to Warriors. Fuck me. Okay, Warriors. Now, like, am I gonna put my hair on the line for Warriors? No, they're not good either. Don't get me wrong, but I feel like I know what I'm getting out of them a bit more than Raiders.
What are you getting out of them? Unable to score.
Who has a better structure in terms of coaching and style of play between Raiders and Warriors?
Raiders.
I disagree. I think Warriors do.
How?
Warriors.
What structure do they have on offense? Peg the ball at Shaw Johnson, who's not there.
Warriors in the past 2 years, their structure actually didn't change. The only thing that changed last year was where they couldn't score anymore because Shauno wasn't there. Right?
No, but Shauno was there.
Right?
But he's really not there.
But generally speaking, I would say the Warriors team was like pretty good defensively. There were high completions. They would get a million tackles in the opposition 20. They just couldn't score. Right? So I feel like they're still going to do that. But this Raiders team, like, I don't know what I'm going to get from these guys.
I feel like you're like trying to convince yourself to take Warriors, but it's just not possible.
I'm taking Warriors. I've already convinced myself to take them.
I think, like, I don't think people have put in the fact how much Adam is going to be missed in this team.
Yeah, but you're not really like...
He scored 12 tries last year.
No, I understand that, but you have...
12 of their tries, which they couldn't score.
That's fine, but that you have Fisher Harris to replace
Yeah,
him.
but he can't score.
That's okay. Raiders, like... These guys will concede points to anyone. I'm not worried about them. Who has the better forward pack?
Warriors. Toss up, man.
What's the Raiders' strength?
They're forwards. Yeah, no, but who's got the better spine? You're going to say Raiders?
I think they're both rubbish.
No, but at least they have Fogarty.
Well, these guys have Egan.
Nah, Fogarty is 10 times better than Egan.
I don't think he is.
Egan barely plays.
Egan's a gun when he's on the pitch, though.
When he's on the field, yeah.
Look, by round 6 when he dies, that's a different story. But for right now...
Okay, look.
Who's better, Weeks or Chanzi?
Okay, look. All right? Oh, Weeks.
Fuck off.
What's Chanzi?
Chanzi's at least played in a grand final at fullback. Weeks legit has like two long-range tries and has done nothing else. Weeks is not actually a good player.
I think you hate it on Raiders.
I think they're just
You know what? Raiders fans, I'm sorry, bro.
Fuck if you want to defend them, go for it.
You know what, G's? You guys are gonna lose now because I found someone else's opinion that believes in Warriors. I don't know why.
I'm the only one. Everyone else thinks Raiders.
What? There's good reason for that.
There isn't.
Warriors.
They're actually such a bad team.
Yeah, but Warriors aren't any better.
They are. Warriors are better than Raiders, bro. Come on, 2.5. Is that it?
All right, look.
These guys suck.
If this was NFL, we would press this button, which is in front of me, which is skip. But this is the NRL, and we have to take every single game. So when we don't decide on the side, it's easy with these two idiots.
Okay.
Unders.
Okay. Unders big time. But outside of you just thinking Warriors are horrible, in terms of how the game will play out, why do you think Raiders is the right side?
This is what's going to happen. First of all, right, you have Tuapiki on the wing, who's a fullback for one, and then you have Chanzi, who will make 200 meters, but really doesn't have that impact.
Yes.
So you take Roger out of the game because Roger's going to try and make 200. It'd basically be batting around.
Yeah.
Right. Both centers on this team won't get Roger the ball regardless.
Oh yeah.
So they're not going to pass to him.
Yeah. No, Roger's a battering ram.
Yeah, so he's a battering ram. And then, so your creativity basically comes down to, can the halves get it to the second rows to maybe score?
Yeah, capable.
So if that's what I'm going up against, look, their forwards are better, but it's not by much. The Raiders forwards is decent. And if that's all I'm going to say is be like, that's what they're better at, then I'm good. I'm taking Matty Timoko over anyone in that back line.
Yeah, but I don't give a shit.
Yeah.
Like, I don't care.
So I think Raiders...
It's Matt Timoko. Is he like the best back on either side? Probably not even. Rogers probably better than him.
Yeah, but I've just established to you, Rogers basically not going to be in the game.
No, but he'll get busy, though.
Yeah, but
like
okay,
it's
he's going to have to come in and get his own work.
Which he will do.
No, okay.
He's a dangerous individual.
All right, after running every single second tackle for the whole game from the back of his own 20 after Fogarty kicks it 5,000 meters in the air. Okay, if he's going to run through the middle of the Raiders pack, sure, you guys are quitters.
If I was you, I think that's the angle that you should come at me at.
What?
Is that they have Fogarty and their like regulation kicking game is much better than the Warriors one.
Well, they're going to kick it 5,000 meters.
Roger will be there.
I know.
He'll bring it back 4,000 meters.
Yeah, well, that's what I'm saying. Like, the strike in the back line, this guy's going to be, like, he's going to be tired.
It's okay.
How many meters can he make?
We got other players.
No, you don't.
Yeah, we do.
You literally don't.
Look, in addition to that,
short ball to Barnett.
I trust the Warriors defense 10 times more.
Oh, yeah.
Than the Raiders one.
Yeah, but,
So, essentially...
I think Raiders can score.
From my perspective, I know Raiders can't score. These can't, like...
You know what?
Their offense is actually the same as the Warriors.
What's Raiders over-under? Whatever it is, I'll take the over.
What would it be? 18?
Is that it?
The Warriors want to be 20 or 21?
I'll take over whatever the Raiders is.
Why?
I think they're going to score. There's people taking Raiders 13 plus.
They need to wake up.
I think this Warriors team,
win.
like... And in addition, like, I think Warriors probably had the worst prep out of any team.
Raiders, bro.
You know Warriors probably had the worst prep out of any team.
In terms of?
Look, last preseason week, they didn't play. The preseason before that, they played in Sydney, the fucking idiots.
Yeah.
And the week before that, they played in New Zealand. So these guys haven't been at home for like a month.
Yeah, that's fine.
That's not fine.
They're building camaraderie on the road.
Okay, you know what? We're going apart. You know what? This was one of the hardest games.
We can side bet if you like. I'll take Warriors. You can take Raiders on the spread. It'll be a good way to start the year.
Oh, yeah, I'm taking 2 points. Fuck yeah.
Take it.
I'm taking 2 points.
You guys can keep a track of our side wages.
500. Go Raiders.
500, I'd say.
Yeah, 500.
Yeah.
Go Raiders.
I'll take Warriors. I like them.
I'll die for them.
I trust, like...
Who?
Their system, their defensive grit, and their want to make a statement to the world that, look, last year was a blip in the radar. Don't worry, you guys will still miss the 8 in the end. That's fine. But as far as early season goes... I feel like someone like Fisher Harris will really drive the standards high and has set the expectation for these guys in the preseason that, look, last year was a blip in the radar. We couldn't score, but we're going to figure it out. And at least, like, as a foundation of a team, I can trust that defensively they'll give their all. The Raiders' discipline has been god-awful in the previous years, and I feel like they truly will miss the leadership from players like Whitehead when the going gets tough on the field. And I don't trust the Raiders at all. I think they're one of the worst teams in the league.
They've got a Dalian medalist. Don't worry about Whitehead.
That's fine.
But, yeah, their system has been... This is their 3rd year of their system. Ricky's been around forever. So I would trust the Raiders system. It doesn't matter what they've shown, is that at least they've done it for a significant period of time. Warriors have done it for 1 year.
Done what?
What? At least Raiders made a grand final. Did Warriors do that?
Mate, they fucking got raped by Penrith. That's fair. That's fine.
Sorry, take it back. They lost by Broncos.
Even worse.
But
they'll possess that year.
But in saying that, I get it.
But
I get it.
But that was more recent, is what I'm saying. The Raiders one is like, where the fuck were you 6 years ago?
Well, I didn't have a podcast.
Yeah. But at least 2 years ago, it was like, all right, they have like similar turnover.
You know what? Nah. I don't believe in this Warriors team at all. They could come last. They give up.
Wow, okay. I think Raiders are much more likely to come last, but we'll see.
No. This is Vegas DNA. All right, you know what? We talked about these two shit cunts way too long.
That we're known to do that.
Yeah, obviously. That's us.
Wait till the fucking Souths game. Anyway, moving on to the actual draw of the Vegas games. We have an absolutely cracking game, a replay of the preview.
And why are you guys splitting the games?
Of the preliminary final of last season. The Sharkies take on the Penrith Panthers. In this one, agreed. Why are you guys splitting the games? No one wants to fucking wake up at 10:30, watch Raiders, and then just sit there like this for 3 hours to then watch Shark.
No, but there's a game in between,
I don't
bro.
give a dog piss.
I thought you should be caring about all the games. You watch preseason,
No.
so I mean...
I'm going to miss preseason. We had a good run on it. But carrying on, the Penrith Panthers...
Preseason.
The 4-time champions are running out this lineup in Vegas. Dylan Edwards, Casey McLean, Isaac Thungo, Luke Garner, the centre of the year, Alamotti, Jack Cole, the big in instead
That's
of
huge
Blaise
news. That's
Talangi.
huge.
Nathan Cleary, Moses Leota, Mitch Kenny, Lindsay Smith, Scott Sorensen, Liam Martin, Isaiah Yeo, Dane Laurie, Isaiah Papali'i, Eisenhuth for pace off the bench, and Patea, who's a forward, I believe. The Sharks running out Kennedy, Stone Street, Ramian, Iro, Mulatalo, Trindle, Nicho Hynes, Fanua Blake, Brayley, Oregon Kufusi, Britton Nakora, Teague Walton, Cam McInnes on the bench, Atkinson, Talakai, Hamlin Uele, and Tommy Hazleton. So again, the floor is yours, Chris. A spread of 2.5 down from 4.5. Talk to me about
Down from 5. It was 6 when it first opened.
Yeah, which was
which was ridiculous. But obviously, there's been injuries that have shifted this. Brian Toto not playing. I actually think like some of it also Blaise Talangi not being in the lineup. I think like knowing what we've seen from Jack Cole, everyone's kind of like, well, we kind of wish Talangi was there, but the spread is kind of gone.
I wanted to make this point earlier, but a little later, but you're bringing it up now. To me, the most intriguing thing of this entire Vegas games is Cleary and Cole, how the halves.
Yeah, of course, but
because in my mind, this is a really bad look on Blaise that he can't get a run. Like they signed him essentially knowing, all right, Luai's out. Like who are our 5'8" options? We already have Schneider, he sucks. We already have Jack Cole, he sucks. Fuck it, like let's get this kid that's shown so much promise in Parramatta, and now we look, it's round 1, and they're like, fuck this, we're going to leave Jack Cole in there, which to me, that's quite alarming, but maybe like Ivan's seeing something behind the scenes that we're not seeing.
I'm sure there's a little smile from the Parramatta board being like, oh yeah, he can't make the lineup that he was supposed to make, and this kid could be starting week 1 against Melbourne because Alungi wouldn't have existed, right? So, big shift. But what I wanted to address first before we get into the actual game is that Penrith always seem to play a very strong team week 1, which it makes sense, but no other podcast is going to point this out. But back in 2023, they played Brisbane week 1, and that was the grand final, and Brisbane won that game. And last year, they played Melbourne in Melbourne week 1, and that was also the grand final, and Melbourne won that year. So, Shark fans, Daz, get excited, mate, because history's on your side. 2 years in a row that Penrith's first game and resulted in the grand final.
Wow,
but in terms of this game, the results of both those games were losses for Penrith. And this time it's going to be a third loss for Penrith. This Cronulla team is raring to go. Now, Penrith's strength is through the forward pack. I actually think like they're going to be so tired.
Penrith or Melbourne?
Penrith.
Okay.
I don't know how anyone is going to defend this forward pack. I know we said it preseason, but looking at it now on paper, it puts demons in my head.
The Sharks one?
The Sharks one.
Yeah.
Like, after 30 minutes of Adam Fanua Blake, you have to go ahead and tackle Hamlin Uele, Hazleton, and Calakai.
Yeah, that's fucked.
Like, regardless, that's incredible. Backline to backline, with the Toto injury, you're going to take Cronulla's. So they have 1+. And I think, like, that's what holding their hat on. They have Nathan Cleary. I know.
He covers up for a lot of those.
He covers up for a lot, but can he cover it all? And I don't think he can week 1. Penrith are often really poor starters anyway. Like I said, in the first 2 weeks, like last 2 years that they've played the same teams in the grand final, they lost to them week 1. Week 1 last year against Melbourne. Obviously, Melbourne's a different beast to Cronulla, and it was in Melbourne. They scored 0 without Munster playing. So they're often really poor starters. And I think that's going to continue. I think Cronulla is raring for the season to start. It's two polar opposites. Cronulla always start great. Penrith don't start great. Penrith are coming off 3 players with shoulder surgery coming back, and they're playing their first game. And the preseason matches, a lot of them didn't play a lot of them. Like, the most recent one, Penrith's whole team, probably Ivan Cleary was on the plane in Vegas. Like,
he was, yeah.
None of these players have played with each other, and I think that's what's represented in the spread. I don't think you can go there and put Sharks favourite, or close to pick them. I think it makes sense to me at 2.5. Respect the defending 4-time champs, but I think this Cronulla team is just not the right time for Penrith. I think if they were playing against someone else, I would be like, yeah, Penrith, but Cronulla is raring to go, and I think they're just ready for the season. I wish Katoa was there, but Stone Street did such a good job last year, so I can't see any flaws in this Cronulla lineup this week.
Are you prepared to guarantee a Sharks victory in this one, sir?
Well, it's not my upset alert because, as Eye of the Tigers coming later. But Cronulla is red hot up there. So I actually think both underdogs will probably win both games in Vegas. But yeah, I'm very close. I wish I could get a 4. I don't think any 4s exist anymore, but I wish I got a +4, but I think this Cronulla team win outright.
This is a fascinating game. Very, very fascinating. Obviously, you have Penrith. Everyone, probably the most public side in the NRL, along with Melbourne, 4-time premiership winners. Everyone is just going to be hammering them in their multis in this one. And what I found interesting, Chris, from your predicted top 8 was it seems like a lot of people are scoffing and putting to the wayside this Sharkies team.
Yeah, incredible.
I don't think people realize the depth, the top end talent, the addition of Fanua Blake. Was the gap between these teams big enough that you can subtract Luai, Fisher-Harris, add Fanua Blake to Cronulla, and now they're somewhat comparable? That remains to be seen. In the grand scheme of things, once you get To'o and all these other guys back,
obviously,
I would still lean towards Penrith, literally for no other reason that they have Nathan Cleary and the Sharks don't. Yep. And that when palms get sweaty, knees weak, arms are heavy, I trust Isaiah Yeo and Cleary to steer the troops around and control the game in a way and not hit the panic button, which I need to see that from Cronulla. I think that, if they score off their fucking gun backline shifts or they're punching holes through the middle of teams throughout when their bench gets on and it's just all too, they're too physical, they're too big, they're too strong, they're too fast. I don't think they'll tell me anything I don't already know about them, but I think the only time in the past couple of years where cunts were like, oh, the Sharks team, they can compete, was that 3-week stretch in the round 8 to round 10 of last year. When I kept saying they're going to win. Where they beat Melbourne without Hynes. They beat the Roosters the next week. They beat the shit out of all these teams.
And then they went
9-1.
Game and that's it.
And then Penrith came to town without Cleary and you were like, please, boys, don't fuck me over here. Don't get raped by them. You look up at the scoreboard, it's 36-0.
Yeah, exactly.
Right? So, can Sharks win this game? Definitely, I think they can. I think the value's on them in terms of the market. 100%. I would probably take them. I can't be bothered taking +2.5 and watching them lose by 4. I'd rather just take them on the money line, to be honest. And I think the NRL have done Cronulla a real big solid in this game of, all right, this is your chance to announce to the world that 2025 is going to be different than all the other years. Here's the defending premiers. They're banged up. They're wounded. They're missing players. They're trying to figure out some new combinations on the fly, whereas you guys are relatively running back the same team. And you're just popping Adam into the middle of it and not really taking anybody out. Sure, Katoa is a loss, and I'd prefer that he was there. But like you said, Stone Street, very competent replacement. And yeah, if Cronulla, I feel like they have a lot to lose in this game.
Oh, yeah.
There's really not much for Penrith the game, in my opinion. If Penrith go and lose by 20, no one's going to give a fuck. But
no.
If Sharks go and lose by 20, they're going to be like, wow.
Same old
They didn't have to, you guys went all the way to fucking Vegas to back down to them again. Legit, if Sharks lose by 20-something and go on a 10-game winning streak, no one
cares, yeah.
So you had them as your minor premiers. I got them as second on my ladder. And if anything, it sounds like we're the ones going different against the grain. So Sharks, come on, boys, don't fuck us over.
People are saying Manly shouldn't be in the 8, which is...
Well, people truly need
But
help.
it does give us... I think this was before the podcast existed. It was the year before the Broncos game, so it would have been when we got Manly at an insane price and they played Penrith week 1 and they got absolutely killed.
Yeah.
It kind of feels like that, but this time we didn't take the +6. So I think it's a big occasion for Cronulla. And to prove that my, take on minor premiership, it's come early, right? It literally has come straight away. Because if they can beat Penrith week 1, I don't think anyone's going to sit there and go, they actually can win minor premiership because they're beating the best team. And conveniently, the way this Vegas game is, this is the Penrith Blue Bet game.
Yeah.
So you don't have to play Penrith at Blue Bet, and you essentially escaped there with a win.
Yeah.
Which not many teams do. So Cronulla, look. I hope there's not that much pressure, but the more that To'o and it gets closer, there's a lot more pressure on Cronulla than there is Penrith. Like saying you mentioned, Cronulla lose this game, win 10 in a row, no one cares. Penrith win this game, everyone's going to be like, oh, fuck, here we go again.
Yeah. They went that undermanned, they still beat the shit out of you guys again. Like,
and
what the fuck?
the thing is for Penrith, they're going to get a layup because they play Roosters a week after.
Shout out to you, Bunzy.
But then, and I said this in the preview, I think, or I said this to you separately, I think they'll start the year 1 and 2 because they go to Melbourne after their bye, and fuck that.
Yeah.
So it does put Penrith in a interesting position, but we've seen them get out of it so easily. Can they do it with this lineup? I don't know. I think Cronulla took them nose to tail in the prelim final until the 60th minute, roughly, where they were close. And that squad, Penrith had Luai, they had To'o, and you minus subtract them and you add on Cronulla's side of the ledger, Adam Fanua-Blake, arguably the best front row in the competition, in a neutral. You can't really argue and say, oh yeah, Penrith at 2 is the right price. But I don't think you can bring it lower than 2. I think this is going to settle at this price until game day. Like there's no change from this point.
Well, where I would disagree with you, Chris, is the prelim was close for 60 minutes on the scoreboard, but way it played out in my mind, I was like, truly on a dry track, Penrith would have beat these cunts by like 36
But the
points.
addition subtraction still stays the same.
Well, I guess how much do you put a price on Luai no longer being there along with Fisher Harris?
Well, we still got to see how good Jack Cole is. But Jack Cole wasn't good enough to be in the lineup straight up. So you got to add that in. They saw Blaze and they were like, all right, Blaze is better than him. But he's not.
What I would say is, do they even need Jack Cole to be good to beat Sharks?
I think last year,
some people would argue the point that you have Yo and Cleary and Edwards. That's not enough of a step back of just missing Luai to then back down the Sharks.
I think all three of Cronulla's halves in this lineup are better than Jack Cole.
Yeah, of course.
So if them three can't accumulate to beat Cleary,
here's an interesting question: would you rather Trindle and Hynes or Cole and Cleary as your halves pairing?
Nah, Cole and Cleary.
Same.
No, that's fine. I'm not stating that, but outside of their 6 and 7.
It's not close, yeah.
It's not close. It's actually not close.
I would still say the forwards are comparable.
Okay, but you'll still take Cronulla's.
Probably not.
With the bench.
I don't know.
Read the Penrith bench again.
It's fine. They have fucking Isaiah Papali'i, which... What the hell happened to this guy? That he was a Dalian back rower. Well, he went to Tigers, I guess. But they're no slouches.
Okay, all right. Let's say it's even. The back line is not close.
Most would argue that Kennedy's like not as good as Edwards.
Yeah, that's fine. I'm not disputing
Tungo
that.
and Eero is probably even. I think the big loss for this game is that To'o's not there.
Yeah, I don't know how they're going to make meters. But anyway, like getting out of their own half, fuck that.
Yeah. I feel like if Sharks play composed, they don't
play like idiots.
They don't like back down to the pressure that Penrith's going to apply to them, and they get an even share of possession, and they can just hang in the fight. I think they probably should win this game. Yeah.
Well, look, the Penrith way, and usually the Vegas games actually showed this last year, so put this in your analysis, right, is that they put the whistle away, and there's not many calls. It's not like a normal regular season game. This is like a finals game, which favours Penrith in a long way. But we don't know what this... technically, on paper, it should be fine for Cronulla because on paper they look great.
Yeah.
But we know how good Penrith are at doing that, especially when the whistle's put away. I guess that kind of fits into your fucking Warriors. But no, it doesn't even fit them because they're tired after 10 minutes. But I don't think there's any... I think there's arguments for Penrith, but at the price, I have to take Cronulla. I think they're just as good, if not better. And if they win this game, big step. I think minor premiership should literally go down to $4. The only team that can beat them from that point is Melbourne.
Fair enough. Up to Sharkies, I'd say.
Come on, Daz, bring them up.
I can't, of the two underdogs, considering they're the same price, I'd much rather be on Sharks than Raiders, but that's just me. I guess, counter argument would be, why would you want to go against
Cleary,
Penrith when you can go against Warriors, who suck as well, which I understand, but I think people are much lower on Sharks than yourself and I am. Yeah. So that's kind of what...
And I see what the NRL is doing, putting that stupid game first. But anyway,
what's your
you can't put Penrith and Sharks first, and no one's going to watch Raiders. We will,
but
no one's going to give a fuck.
No, I agree. Well, I would say, why the fuck did you take those two idiots there in the first
they're
place?
doing applications for 26, and Tigers said no, which dumbasses.
They want to play it like...
But Para wants to go, which I think they're Showtime. They should be there.
Yeah, they should take them.
They're maybe Knights. Bulldogs. No. Knights. I guess maybe because this one's a shorter podcast,
Dragons.
we can slowly go through, I guess, just betting markets before we preview for the 6 matches after it. Obviously, you mentioned 2 of them, or one of them. The
we
Dolphins
can go.
one.
We can go in chronological.
But the most
order,
important, I would say the next one, this Broncos line. Next time you refresh it, it could be 8.5. I mean,
it's out of control.
It's out of control at this point. Everyone is taking Broncos. We've sent it to the premium guys at Pick'em, which is an incredible price. But now it's at that 8 level. I guess the only question I have for you is saying, is there any thoughts of hedge? Because I don't have a thought of hedge because it's Roosters. That's the only reason. I know they'll give up.
I'm having thoughts of even going further than hedging.
Yeah, to go the other side. Take 13 plus.
Fuck me.
Yeah, I think it's really bad.
No. I'm thinking of doubling my stake and getting on Roosters. I mean, to open their season at 8.5. What the fuck? Are they that bad?
Yeah.
Jesus Christ.
Look, they've got no Lineu, which is half their fucking pack.
They don't need him.
So their pack is Collins, Crichton, Radley, who doesn't want to be there, and
Tupino.
they don't even have him.
That's fine. Look, if
It's
you guys are going to go out there and lose 13 plus after the 2 preseason games you had, fucking end it.
Townsend, I'm good, bro. That's not the game I'm thinking of hedging, to be honest, because I don't trust Robbo.
I trust they'll try. And the Broncos game. Shout out to CC and all the Bulldogs fans out there. The scoreboard suggested that Dogs just got fucking absolutely annihilated, which they did to some extent, right? But Connor Tracy literally gave these guys 12 points by just dropping the ball.
Yeah, well,
you know,
I had a lot of points about Bulldogs.
For all that possession that Brisbane had, they only really scored like 2 or 3 proper tries.
Correct.
I
think there's a bit to say about Bulldogs, which I think more in the actual, like when we do the preview. I think Serraldo's gone with a different regime this time, and I think they'll start off slow, to be honest. But that's just my first thought.
Because they ran out of gas.
Because they ran out of gas, and it looks like it straight up. So week 1, there's your thoughts. Shout out to Zerafos brothers. The next game,
Dragons
obviously, this keeps shifting the Knights' direction after they saw Sharp annihilate. I don't even know who they played in preseason, but they've gone to favourites at Leichhardt, which usually you don't get week 1 because you always get Tigers as favourite. But Tigers are now underdogs at home, which seems absolutely insane. And I think this is more. People have seen preseason Knights. People haven't seen preseason Tigers because Coruscant and Luai's played, has he? So Coruscant and Luai haven't played, which there you go. And that's all this is at the moment. I don't think we don't have a bet out. No, we do.
Tigers are pick 'em.
Tigers are pick 'em. So you probably get a better price now, but I didn't
maybe.
I didn't expect it to shift in the Knights direction.
It wouldn't have until Knights went and put 50 on the
board.
board.
But I don't trust Knights anyways. Fuck those
I guess I don't want to go and give too much away for the other 6 games because obviously that'll have its own preview. But in terms of going into the season, Chris, how much, if any, weight do you put in any of these preseason games whatsoever?
No, I don't put any. But it's good to just know what's happening because I feel like, bro, we see teams in the 27-round season give up.
Yeah.
And this is preseason. This is a completely different story. And you know what's interesting? Manly, who were these odds are shifting, right? Manly were the most favoured team I saw in preseason. Well, in the last preseason 16.5 against Penrith. Lost outright. And their line literally shifts the other way on their week 1. I think that just tells me who gives a shit. Because they know no one... Cowboys beat Melbourne and their line increased.
Yeah. Well, I guess...
what do you want me to say about preseason?
From my perspective is, it gives 2 sort of valuable insights, right? Number 1, if a team's not playing their gun playmakers or their gun big names, aka Tigers, even if they lost 200-0 to Para, I'd be like, well, no one's picking these cunts to make the 8 for fucking Naden, right? They're doing it because of the spine, and until we see the spine, then this is meaningless information to us, right? But for a team that actually runs out everyone and gives up, a la Roosters, a la Dogs, a la all these cunts, even Manly, who were 16.5, the only reason they were 16.5 is because Penrith literally had nothing.
Yeah.
Right? If Cherry Evans and Turbo played and they lost that, right? I'd be like, what the fuck are you guys doing, right? But
Brooks play?
No.
Oh.
Yeah.
Why are they 15.5?
Yeah, exactly right. So that's just the books don't know how to price preseason. That's a whole separate thing. So number 1, it reveals to me, okay, you can't get too much credit in preseason, but you can get an eyebrow raise of wait, you guys ran out Tedesco and Collins and fucking Len Yu and Townsend and all these guys, and you gave up 50 to Knights, that's pretty bad. And secondly, it gives me a good indication of, you know what, like, this club is setting pretty high standards in their preparation to the season. So, Titans, within 10 minutes in that Broncos game, mailed it in.
Yeah, but then they won the next game.
They can win. That's fine. But it's a psychological shift, in my opinion, where I'm like, okay, this is Titans of old. When it gets too hard, they can't just do a couple offloads and score. Well, you know what? You guys can get into our fucking try line. We'll figure it out later. We got Brimson. We'll figure it out. Whereas, like, someone like Para in that Knights game, Para of old would not have fucking defended so many sets in a row, right? Mm-hmm. So what I'm thinking is they have Riles, they have a new fucking defensive system, whatever the fuck you want to call it.
They have Jack Williams.
And they're somewhat like, oh, you know what? We have something to prove. We have some sort of urgency of like, we're not just going to come out and be like, we're down 12-0.
Yeah, true.
You blink and it becomes 15-0. Where the Roosters players, I was like, Robbo's actually kept them on after halftime to show me like, oh, okay, like, first half, it was out of control. Then you got sin bin. We're down 50-0. All right, boys, let's go in the second half. And you guys go and quit the second half as well. That's pretty bad.
You got sin bin in preseason?
In the second minute, yeah. Why do you think Knights were possessed? You think it was 13 on 13?
So, all right, look. Bloke in the bar, I watched your whole preview, and I've watched both preseason like videos. You were sitting there literally saying Knights were so gun, and you didn't tell me Linu got sin bin in 2 minutes.
I agree with him. The Knights look gun.
Yeah, but they had 12 players.
Yeah, but look, the old Knights, 11 players, they can't score.
Yeah, I get it. I know that. You know? Okay, they can score. They think they can score.
Yeah,
it's
they're
classic
back.
line. Yeah. Anyway, all right, we'll quickly go through the rest. I don't want to ruin the next video. After that, the night game is the Dolphins game, which you mentioned right at the start. Again,
look, I'll strangle South.
If it gets to 6, I am considering in this game to hedge out.
South, bro.
6-point underdogs to Wayne is a bit. Come on, bro. And he's playing a team that he knows in and out, back to front. So I think that's
Friday. That's
Friday night. Yeah, Saturday night is Manly.
Oh god.
So the first game on Saturday. Shout out to Xerophos Brothers. We've got too many people to fucking shout out. Shout out Matt. I don't know.
The first is Manly. Cowboys.
No, it's not. That's the night game.
Are you sure?
Yeah. First game's Dragons. Mate, I got it right here.
Wow. Dragons of War.
Yeah, Dragons afternoon 5 p.m.
The preseason champion.
No, that was Bronco. But yeah, Dragons. Obviously, the big news is on the dog side. I would say Kiraz could be out up to 5 weeks apparently. But I have heard from insiders in the Dogs camp, Matt, you can verify this as well. It's more about his contract coming up than anything else, than his injury. It's more of a niggly injury. I didn't think Kiraz would do something like that, but apparently that's what it's about. But he's out, and Dragons look possessed. So, we'll have to see what that comes up with. Burden, I think the sling thing was a fucking joke. So, Triple M, fuck you, as per usual. Manly front, this line has moved from 4 to 5 for good reason. It should be 10. Cowboys are going to... you know what? We were discussing this.
They smashed Melbourne, though.
We were discussing this 2 days ago. I wouldn't wish any team to go to Manly week 1.
I wouldn't even
if
say
Penrith were there, I would put them underdogs.
Yeah. At least, fucking give Cowboys a chance. Put it in Townsville. Come on.
In Townsville, it would be Pickham.
Yeah, I know.
Is that it?
Yeah, I wonder who would take. Moving on to Sunday, which these kinds of... In a round where everyone's 4.5, Eels are going there as 10.5 dogs to Melbourne.
Well, it's actually shifted to 8. Pappy confirmed out week 1.
I got news regarding this game.
But I think he's literally running out, being like, I'll save myself, give myself the bye to round 3 to absolutely annihilate Penrith.
Apparently, Farlongbo's hamstring.
Yes, I heard that as well.
Yeah. However, what I will be concerned about is on the Eel side of things, Mitch Moses' foot apparently is bothering him. That same one that's he has huge plates in, and he missed 3 months of last year's season. Not an injury that you want to be carrying into round 1. They got Dylan Brown.
I mean, if he doesn't play, if his toenail hurts, I wouldn't play him week 1. You can't lose Moses any time in this season. I'd give him the rest. You're not going to win. You're not going to win that game anyway. So
if Moses doesn't play,
I'd consider
15.5.
16.5. Yeah, right.
I mean, there's a death.
But they have Brown.
But if he plays, they might win.
I've heard Dylan Brown has got a new... You guys will love it now. I'm calling him Hercules from now on.
Okay.
Yeah, because he looks like... I've seen him now in person. He's huge.
Wow, okay.
Literally looks like Hercules. So, that's his new name. But Hercules could save them. So you never know.
Hercules wants a big contract. So
Volkman will be... Oh, God. But Also, like Melbourne front, like if Failongo and Pappy aren't there, all good. So I'll just put Wishart there and win by 50 anyway. So who cares?
Same garbage. So
It's
I'd say for the Vegas games, what are you most looking forward to, sir?
I'm looking forward to Raiders.
Okay.
Because I think the
You
Sharks
think-
game is literally 2.0 from last year. Like, it's going to be a knife in my back when I have to come back on here and say Cleary beat them again. Like, it's still silly. The Raiders game, at least, like, I can giggle.
But you do acknowledge that it's going to be a horrible product.
Oh,
to
yeah.
watch.
The product, like, they shouldn't have taken it to Vegas.
I've got an interesting question for you.
I think once they said Tohu is retired, I would have swapped Warriors out. Put
Yes.
someone else.
But could you hypothetically come up with a worse matchup to take to Vegas between these two fucks?
I think if Titans would. No, Titans are Showtime. Man.
I know. I'm telling you, this is actually the worst matchup they could have taken.
No. Like, Knights Raiders would be awful.
But at least you have Kalen. I'd rather watch fucking Knights Raiders than Warriors Raiders.
Anyone including Dre? No, I would like Dre. Maybe like Dogs Raiders.
Dogs Warriors would be horrible.
Like, it's just, there's no offense, boys. There's just no
Nah,
offense.
I actually think Warriors Raiders is the worst.
Listen, if they don't take Parra next year, literally they should be killed.
Yeah. They could have done Parrot Tigers or something. It'd be pretty funny.
Tigers, wake up.
Yeah.
You're
They
a
don't
top
wanna
8 team. Go.
Yeah. Anyway,
That's the podcast.
any other thoughts on
Nah, I'm excited for Vegas.
what do you think of the Vegas as a concept of them opening the season?
I think it's fine. This year actually is a bit different because last year the same teams played each other week 2. We'll have to see how that actually flows through because they don't play each other this time. Penrith play Sharks. Penrith play Roosters. Sharks play some idiots. Like, it's a bit different, and I don't know if that's going to turn out well. Last year they made it very clear that they play each other so they can all get back into the rhythm. Even the third week, it was Roosters South, which is usually, and they're both teams that went, so it was a bit strange. But yeah, we'll have to just see how it goes. And I feel like they're going to do 4 teams a year. I don't. If it goes well this year, I think Volandis and the whole NRL should just be like, we do a whole round there and come back.
But then, like, I think that I was thinking that, but the only thing is you might need to give everybody a bye week the following week.
Yeah, that's fine.
I can't imagine going all the way to fucking
Started a week early. I don't think it's a problem. I think everyone will enjoy that every game is there, and like Vegas will be something else. It's basically second Magic Round, and everyone loves how good Magic Round's a special round.
Magic Round's go.
So like it's exactly the same concept. So I think the only thing in that case will be until there's a new team added, one team won't go, but it's fine. Magic Round, like Manly's literally not going, and they're Magic themselves. So anyway, that's another point. But I think they should do the whole round there. Come in the next couple of years.
I have a theory that would defunct that as a problem. Whoever scores the least amount of points at the end of the season doesn't get to play Magic Round.
Well, yeah. Who was the?
There's nothing magical
wasn't it
about.
Tigers?
There's nothing magical about you
Wasn't
can't
it Tigers
scoring
again?
16 points a game.
It was Tigers, wasn't it?
I don't know.
It was Tigers.
Wasn't it Dogs?
No, Dogs scored. Dogs won. But they did Manly this year because of that stupid fit they had about Broncos, which fair enough.
Appreciate the support as always, ladies and gentlemen. Give us a comment what you're thinking for the doubleheader in Vegas to start us off.
Go Raiders.
Go the Warriors and go the Sharkies. I'll check back in with you pricks next week. Peace out, guys.
Peace.